Hi, my name is Megan Miller, and today I'm going to be telling you a story that my Mimi used to tell my family when we would visit her. I was young, so I do not remember the story, but my dad shared the story with me. I'm going to be playing the role as my Mimi. The title of my story is called My Uncle the Bootlegger. This story displays my family's independent and adventurous nature and how sometimes that may not be a good thing. Now it is story time. My name is Jo Beth, and I was born in 1920 in my home in San Antonio. I would like to tell you a story about my family. My Texas heritage dates way back to 1845 when my great-grandfather George Holloman and his young wife moved from Virginia to Seguin, Texas. Seguin was a really small town back in the day with less than 300 people. George was only 18 years old when he ventured across the United States in a wagon with his young wife. George set the standard for adventure. His independent mindset caused him to leave his family, his wife's family, and travel 2,000 miles to start his own business and make his own way. George was a merchant, and he kept up with the happenings of the day. He lived during the times of great speakers like Daniel Webster, Clay Calhoun, and Henry Clay. He heard them all speak. But he thought Sam Houston was just as a great speaker as those men. George actually knew Sam Houston, and Sam Houston stayed in his house in Seguin in 1857. But this story is about my Uncle George. Uncle George is the grandson of my great-grandfather George Holloman. Uncle George was also independent in his ways and adventurous. I imagine he had his own opinions about many things, especially what the government could tell you to do or not to do. You see, my Uncle George was a bootlegger. For those of you who do not know what a bootlegger is, he made, sold, and distributed alcohol illegally. You see, once upon a time in Texas, making, selling, and distributing alcohol was illegal from 1920 to 1933. It was called prohibition. Now, the reason this law was passed was because some people thought that making alcohol illegal would reduce crime and corruption, solve social problems, reduce the tax burden created by prisons and poorhouses, and improve the health and hygiene of people. Well, I guess Uncle George did not feel that way. Uncle George still lived in Seguin, but my parents had moved to San Antonio. So as kids, my sister and I would often go and visit with them and stay the night. Whenever we were there and the revenue agents would come around searching for the booze, my aunt and uncle would hide it under the cots where we slept. They told us girls to take a nap on the cots, pretending to be asleep, and afterwards they would give us $1. Well, so of course we lay down and acted like we were sleeping because $1 was a lot of money back in the day. When the revenue agents began looking around, my aunt would tell them that they better not wake up the girls. It worked every time, and my aunt and uncle would never get caught for having the legal booze. Now, I'm not agreeing with what they did, breaking the law and all, but this shows the independent and adventurous streak remains in our family's blood, and this streak continues. You see, my son left home too to move across the country with his new wife to start a new job and build a life. You know my granddaughter, Megan. She is independent-minded and very adventurous. There must be something about us Texans. We think we're big and we do big things. And that's it.